Little Miss Princess has come to say hello. And now she has said goodbye. Hey everyone, how are you this week? I'm doing really quite well, and thank you so much for everybody who commented last week after sort of my internal crisis. I don't know, just my little breakdown because two of my friends got engaged. Thank you so much for your love and support and all the virtual hugs. It meant so much to me. I have to say that I cried a little bit just as I read all of your lovely, lovely comments, and I do have a soft heart. I'm a crier. I will cry at the drop of a hat. If something is beautiful, I cry. If something is very meaningful, I cry. I just cry. I cry at car commercials. The car is so beautiful and the road is so windy. And anyway, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. That really does. It does mean a lot to me. Sort of tangentially related is I ran out of notebooks at work, and I have a paper addiction, so I have a ton of notebooks at home. So I thought I'd just dig one of these out off of my bookshelf, take it into work, and use that instead. Funny thing about most of these notebooks is I've got just stuff scribbled on them. See, this one is kind of halfway done, so I've gone through and decided that I didn't need whatever was there. Anyway, so I found some stuff that I'd written from like 16 years ago, when I met a person that I really, really enjoyed, and he's still sort of around, and I really, really enjoy him. But it was like the same angsty me moaning over the same problems, and I'm like, this hasn't changed in 16 years. Well, except for the 1 year it did change, which was like 3 years ago, and we're still not over that apparently. But I was like, okay, not changing, I'm done with it. It's time to be a grown-up. So I just separated from them on all bits of social media. No Twitter, no Facebook, no BattleNet, no, I just, and it wasn't from a position of anger or malice or, it was more like, this isn't changing, this isn't healthy. You are kind of an internet stalker when it comes to this, because, I'd open up Facebook and, oh, I missed this person by 5 minutes. Oh, by 10 minutes. Oh, they were just on 20 minutes after I logged off the last time around. And it just probably wasn't healthy at all. So I've done that. I suppose that's an improvement. So anyway, good for me. It is kind of nice to log on to Facebook and Twitter and stuff and not be, oh, I missed. It's like, oh, I have no idea. I can't be crazy stalker chick anymore. So yay for being an adult and not being crazy stalker chick. Yay. So, how are you guys? Did you survive your week? You helped me survive my week, and I'm so grateful for all the love and support that you shared with me. Let's do the things, shall we? There's not a lot of things because I was kind of busy doing other things, but whatever. So, for the lovely and wonderful progress report as far as cross stitch goes, I started the back stitch on Oh Holy Night. So you can see here that I got our first little shepherd boy done, and the first sheep done, and a good chunk of second and third, some of the third shepherd taken care of there. I just kind of went to town, stitchity, stitchity, stitchity. This is Oh Holy Night. The pattern is by Stony Creek, and I believe it is readily available. I'm stitching it on 28 count Picture This Plus Dwarf. The real only reason I chose this size was because it was the size that was in a color I liked. Nothing else. What else about this? Anyway, I spent three days, 3 evenings pretty much to get as far as I have gotten. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, we'll hold it up here. Hopefully YouTube will choose this as the thumbnail instead of, well, they can't choose a skein of yarn this week because I didn't buy any yarn this week. There is no yarn in the mail. Yay! Managed to Escape that one. Anyway, let me fold that up and put it over here in its box. We'll hold this really far back. You can see that I'm sort of highlighting in orange the bits that I've already backstitched, and the green is the stitching stuff. So, 2 colors of highlighting going on there. Oops, it's going to tip over. I'm not even going to separate this out into all yarn since there's not a lot going on. But this is the little bit of progress that I was able to make on my Hitchhiker shawl. So there's my progress keeper one right down there. So a full repeat of stockinette stitch, a full repeat of my what is this, garter stitch, and then half a run at more stockinette stitch. So it's pretty. Really, 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 really love the way the V's look. Those are my favorite. I love them so much. I'm stitching this, knitting this with a Miss Babs colorway. The base is Woodbury. The colorway is Hot to Trot. I bought it when I was having a little bit of a pink phase back at the beginning of the year. So that is why that is super bright and super, super pink. So let's put that over here. I didn't spend a lot of time crafting on Saturday for 2 reasons, but one is I needed to put together the bulletin board for Relief Society. So as I was taking apart the July bulletin board, I took a minute or so of film of, you know, what it was after I pulled off everybody's names and birth dates and, you know, stuff like that. So I'll insert that here. I'm pretty sure the lighting is bad. Why wouldn't it be? Anyway, put it in here so you can kind of see my layout for last month's board, and if I think about it, I'll probably try to do the same for when I'm uploading, when I take apart August's board, show it to you guys because you've been interested in seeing it. So, bulletin board. Hey guys, I know some of you have asked after my bulletin board, so I'm pulling apart the bulletin board from July, removed all the names and stuff. But you can kind of see what I have done. We had 2 huge batches of birthdays, so I put a list of birthdays on this side and a list of birthdays on that side. And then down here I have our scripture of the year that gets reprinted and rematted and moved around all the time. And I'm just sitting way too close to get, you know, a full view of it. But so here was people who have moved into the ward, and here's people who have moved out of the ward. And here is Princess. Kitty, you don't say. Alright. Anyway, and the rumbling noise in the background is my washer because I'm doing laundry. But anyway, there you go. I'm working on my August bulletin board. So, pulling apart the July one. Okay, bye. So there's that. I think it turned out nice. I don't think the August came out nearly as well as planned. I had thought to do one direction and go in, you know, one design direction, and then as I was putting stuff together, it just really wasn't working how I thought it should. And so at the last minute, I was changing everything, and that didn't work as well as it should. For instance, when I was printing out my my label tab, I accidentally left the H out of birthday. And I figured this out in the middle of Relief Society when I was sitting in the back, just, you know, listening to the lesson and looking at the board, and I realized, yes, indeed, I have left out the H in birthday. So they have birthdays this month and not birthdays. So, oh well. Looby Time! This is going to be a really, really short video, you guys, seeing as I've only got 9 minutes recorded, and I think 2 of those minutes were me mucking about at the beginning before I actually started talking. Anyway, so let's introduce you to the stitchers that I have met in this past week. First day up, we have Creativity by Gidge. She is a multi-crafter, and on her channel she has several other videos for the other various things that she does. She does start us off with the Know Your Needleworker tag, so you get to know her a little bit better. She is a new stitcher, if I recall properly, and is diving right into her first aid. The girl has courage, so go check her out. The next stitcher I met was Magpies and Me. She is coming to us from the South Island of New Zealand, but did spend several years in the Florida Panhandle. She shares several of her beautiful finishes with us. There's a Blackbird Designs, and she's just a lovely, lovely lady. She came across as having a very gentle soul. I next met Becky at the Stitchin Hutch. She also starts us off with the Know Your Needle Worker tag. She is coming to us from Mesa, Arizona, so I know we have several Arizonan stitchers down there, so y'all go adopt her. And that's what I wrote down. I didn't write down anything about what she's been stitching, so I don't know if my mind was somewhere else, which is possible, or not, but go introduce yourself to her. I met the Broadway Stitcher, who is coming to us from the lighted, glittery avenues of New York City. She loves theater and is likewise a multi-crafter. She's really enthusiastic about her stitching. She shares several whips with us, some of her fun finishes. She claims to be a serial starter, and you really need to go check out her channel because she has just the most fantastic finish of Satsuma Street's Pretty Little New York, and how she has framed this thing is just, it's fantastic. It just blew my mind. I love it. It's perfectly suited for what she needs it to do, so go check that out. I next met Cross Stitcher in Paradise. I know Michelle Bindi Stitchy has mentioned her because Bindi Stitchy claims that she is stalking our Cross Stitcher in Paradise because our Cross Stitcher in Paradise is coming to us from Hawaii. And I'm a little embarrassed that I did not write her name down, so oopsies. Anyway, she shares several of her first stitches, a little bit about her stitching journey, and several fun finishes that she has from the bin o' shame, aka the bin where all the finished but not fully finished objects are. I met Ardith Designs. She's new to cross stitching and design. She's passionate about saving the stitches. She gives us the Know Your Needle Worker tag so we can get to know her better. She has several fun whips and a few finishes that she shares with us. And then the last stitcher I met this week is Crafty Designs. Also, we learn more about her with the Know Your Needle Worker tag. She too is a multi-crafter, and she is working on an absolutely stunning cross-stitch piece of a unicorn on a lovely Picture This Plus Picture This Plus fabric, and it's just an absolute stunner. And she shared many of her other whips. So there are our fabulous Floobies. As usual, I will have links to their channels in the description box below. If you're not seeing any of it, just click on where it says show more. It'll open up and there will be links to their channels to make it easier for you to go visit those wonderful, wonderful stitchers. Alright, and all the rest of the nonsense from this week. I'm having traffic woes when it comes to getting to work. The Utah Transit Authority, aka the UTA, is working on installing a rapid bus transit lane between my city, where I work, and the neighboring city.
So I went on a major rant. Basically, I complain about the time that it's taking to finish up the construction, which has been delayed several months. Complain about the size of the buses and the poor decisions of running extra large buses during peak times when the thing is not going to be finished. And do explain that I have lived in cities where mass transit has worked very, very well, but it does not seem to work very well at all here in Utah. I just condensed the rant because you didn't need to hear it.
Heaven knows, I hate my commute being delayed because of construction. Is that all I wanted to talk about? Yes. Yes, that is. I've ranted about the UTA, and it's just driving me insane. What else have we got? Instant karma. I witnessed instant karma on the freeway yesterday night when I was coming home from my parents' house. We have a Sunday dinner over there. So I got on the freeway, and as I was getting on the freeway, I noticed that, you know, there was nothing between me and he, but a highway patrolman up here. But, you know, I wasn't close to him. I was, you know, several car lengths back. And our highway patrolmen like to get on the freeway and then go 5 miles an hour under the speed limit. This panics people, and they won't go around him. I'm like, I'm going the speed limit, and he hasn't got his lights on, so I'm going around. I don't have time for this silliness. So he gets on the freeway. He's doing his usual, you know, 5 miles an hour slower than the speed limit. Sure enough, after pretty much no time at all, he's got a little clump of cars all around him. Luckily, there's nobody in the right lane. I just keep it in the right lane. I set my cruise control for 70 miles an hour, which is the speed limit, and I'm just, you know, slowly creeping up, and I'm just going to be able to pass him, no problem. Meanwhile, I hear the roar of engines just out of nowhere coming over my left shoulder, you know. You know the sound that a sports bike makes when it is under high acceleration and going exceedingly fast. Couple that with a little rice rocket in primer gray with a couple of thugs, you know, behind the wheel, and these two guys were racing. Now, I was far enough back that I could see them when they whooped by me at had to have been 100 miles an hour easily. And then it was time to play Spot the Cop. This is my favorite game. I love Spot the Cop more than anything else. And of course, as soon as they got level with the cop, their brake lights turned on and they drifted back. Now, Mr. Policeman heard them. Mr. Policeman really started to slow down, as did everybody else around him, as did our two knuckleheads who were racing. So this whole group of people is slowly starting to slow down. I think I'm being polite. I slowed down a little bit too because I want Mr. Highway Patrolman to be able to do his thing. I think we slowed down to 45 miles an hour before I was like, forget this. So since his lights weren't on, I went around him. And so that allowed everybody else was like, oh, well, I guess I'm going around too. So everybody else sort of started to sort out and going around as well. Well, the knuckleheads thought, oh, it's okay. So they went around. And as soon as they passed the highway patrolman, his lights came on and he pulled both the chuckleheads over. Instant karma. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. Don't be doing 100 miles an hour racing on the freeway. I should say that the motorcycle driver was also probably a organ donor, since he had no helmet and, from what I saw, absolutely no protective gear on. So if he was in any sort of an accident, not looking good for that guy. So there is that. So as all my friends in the Horde know, Battle for Azeroth launches next week. I think we have one more cinematic to go this week. Tomorrow is probably the Battle of Lordaeron, yay, where the Horde will lose control of the Undercity to the Alliance. Meh, what can we do? Last week, the Horde, we totally burned down Teledrisil. Feelings on that for me, and you will understand if you play the game, especially on the Horde side. I didn't like the quests that we were doing leading up to the burning of Teledrisil. It didn't feel right to my character. I'm a Tauren, I'm a druid, you know, killing off wisps and fellow druid, and I didn't like it so much. And then the cinematic that came out in the middle of the burning of Teledrisil that explained who set fire to the thing, it just really rocked a lot of us Hordes sort of the wrong way. I didn't like it. I didn't want to be was not the Horde that I wanted to be a part of. And so the internet went nuts. The internet went salty. It was really, really interesting reading for 3 or 4 days. I mean, the uproar. okay, well, we know the internet's a bunch of overreaction anyway, for the most part. And some of the forums and Reddit subreddits are a little bit toxic, you know. But anyway, it was interesting reading everybody else just up in arms. And then they released the cinematic for Old Soldier, which is about Saurfang. That was a beautiful piece of storytelling, a beautiful piece of movie making. It was beautiful, it was impactful, it was, that is the horde that I want to belong to, and that is the horde that I would fight for. You know, so it was sort of, by the end of the week, we had a contrast of two sort of versions of what the horde could mean, or what it stands for, or what it is. So, some beautiful storytelling there from the WoW folks. A lot of the rest of the story is in web comics and some novellas that they just released today, which shows more of the motivations and what's going on around this, that, and the other. So there's that. Yay. Anyway, so yeah, like I say, launches next week. Looking forward to that. And I'm sorry I went on a little bit longer than I meant to on the random stuff of the randomness. Okay. Looking at my notes, I think that's everything. I'm wearing my sunglasses. Tell you what's funny, you guys. By the end of the summer, when I quit wearing my sunglasses on my head all times, I have two little divots kind of right here on my head where the nose piece meets. So it'll be time to spend 6 months in winter trying to get rid of my two nose piece divots. Whatever. Maybe that's why I'm crazy. There was that, actually, I'm not even going to talk about it because I can't think of the proper name, where you could, based on the curvature of your skull, related to your personality traits, and so on and so forth. That was some old sciencey stuff they developed like in the Victorian era. But anyway, so rambling. Thank you, everybody who has checked in with me. Thank you so much for your comments last week. It meant the world to me. I read most of them in tears and with a grateful heart. Thank you so much for your support. I hope you guys get to have a good week and stitch as much as you would like. I hope that frog stays far, far away from you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your comments. Love you guys. Hugs and stitches, everyone. Bye.